besides the fact that it's nearly midnight on Thursday, the 24th of April, 2025, because somehow I'm still awake, I saw one of the people that I can finally cross off my bucket list, and that is Hans Zimmer. So for those that shockingly don't know this man's name, he does the score for almost every movie out there. And I say almost because he's not the only one out there, but he is like the master of his job. And you've heard his songs, his beautiful melodies of scores in so many movies, from Dunkirk, from Superman, to Wonder Woman, to Lion King, to Dark Phoenix, to Interstellar, to my god, why have I mentally blanked? To so many films, and that's just some of them. This guy has been working since the 1980s. It is now 2025. He is still working. He still has this stamina. He's still lovely to know. Okay, so when tickets went on sale, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy them. I bought the cheap seat, which was less than 200 bucks. And I did not know what I was getting into. I was like, okay, I'm gonna hear some scores. I hope it's the real guy and not just some like pop-up act, because I'm not spending my money on that. Like I love you guys, but like if I'm traveling out of my way, I would like to see the legit person. Well, it was the lovely, legit Hans Zimmer himself. This is one of his merchandises, and that is the program. My god, it is massive. It is quite thick with so much information about all the performers, some behind the scenes pics as well, and some lengthy paragraphs of a few different things. So yeah, it says he started working in 1988, and then his latest work was in 2024 with the June 2. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And what, the man's only 60, 70 something? Also the fact that 99% of these years has more than one film. The exception being 1999, and I think that's it. 1999 is the only one where he only did one film, whereas everything else he did multitudes of films. It's insane. But it also tells you which ones are kind of part of franchises as well, which is cool. As well as TV shows in 1987 right up to 2022. But yes, quite informative, a lot to read, which I will, when I'm a little more wide awake, read. Then I also got, this is another piece of merch, which kind of got destroyed because it was in my bag. A beautiful mug. I love that. I can't read sheet music to save my life. I have tried, but I think that's really cool, and I would love to know what it says. Hopefully smarter someone than me. There's that one. And one of 4 choices of shirts. I kind of didn't really like a lot of the shirts. If I'm going to spend $50+ on a t-shirt from a touring company, I would like it to be worthy. And a lot of them were just like Hans Zimmer live in like the biggest font possible, and like small fonted tour dates on the back, which I'm like, come on guys, give me more. But this one I liked, sort of. I mean, I like the back of it, but I don't do plain boring shirts. So this is the front. HZ with Zimmer on the front, and the songs he performed for the night. So you got Gladiator, Lion King, Dunkirk, Dark Phoenix, No Time to Die, Wonder Woman, June, Interstellar, The Dark Knight, The Last Samurai, Pirates, Inception, that's that one. Yeah, Man of Steel, Hans Zimmer live playing his music from. That's all the songs in a 2-hour runtime. He did 2 encores, well actually 1 encore but 2 songs, and the first half of this performance was pretty much getting to know what you're going to be introduced to. So you're introduced to almost lullaby-like songs, and as somebody who listens to scores religiously and falls to sleep to plenty of scores, they did feel very lullaby. I was like, this is the first hour and I'm ready for bed. Like, they're very soft, they're very soothing, they're very from like a lot of calm films. Then he started to introduce Pirates of the Caribbean, and that was a lot, but also yes. And then he took a 20-minute break, and he warned everybody that the next act is going to be a little more rock, and we were not prepared. I'm not even kidding you. It was mental. It was just consistent lighting and smoke and just continuous loudness. I didn't take as many videos as I normally would when I see concerts. I think I only took like 10, maybe not even that, videos. Normally I take like every song has a video, but no, I'm like, okay, 5, maybe 10, but it was only the ones that I was like, hold on, my earworm knows that song, but where do I know it from? So I've got Man of Steel, I've got No Time to Die, I've got Inception, Lion King, Pirates. I think that's all I got. Oh, and the 2 introductions, so the first opening song of each act. So I think that's 8 songs in total. But with Hans, you are not prepared. Okay, yes, you know he scores, yes, you kind of understand the context to a lot of them, but he plays the overture, or at least key moments that audiences will recognize, like the opening tunes. But essentially it is the overture of a lot of these scores that he puts together. They go for roughly 15 minutes. I mean, for anybody who listens to scores, you will know that most scores run for under 3 minutes because they have short time windows, and most of the time they're spliced together due to the way that the film is cut together. So following that little panzam, you get this overture of 15 to 20 minutes, and it is a spectacle. You're not sitting there in a theater going, cool, I'm gonna close my eyes and envision the scene, and I may stay awake or I might fall asleep because it's nearly God knows what time. No, the minute you sit down, the minute he starts, you are in for a show. You learn so many different techniques that I don't think I've ever seen performed live. Yes, I've seen musicians perform live. Yes, I've heard bass before. Yes, I've seen cello used before. Yes, I know what drums sound like, but putting these together, as well as vocal elements that made me question, is that really someone's voice? Because that is inhumanly possible. But you're telling me you used an actual person to create those sounds. It wasn't just some like mucking around with like fade ins and fade outs and whatever else is on a soundboard. No, it was a person's voice. That sound came from a human being. There are so many elements that you just sit there going, how is this humanly possible? You were even introduced to a type of instrument that was invented 3,000 years ago. You were also introduced to an instrument that was created out of PVC piping from Home Depot, or at least in Australia's case, Bunnings Warehouse. PVC piping used as an instrument, not just like something you tap on like most Australian kids here in the schoolyard where it's like you hit it with your hands or you hit it with like a rubber foam mat sort of thing. No, as in like you can play it like a flute, which is insane. It's a saxophone flute styled PVC pipe painted gold. That blew my mind. The lighting show, you didn't know where to look. Yes, the focus was predominantly on the stage, but there was also the focus on the projector screen at top, as well as sometimes you get the light display going around the conventions, around the entertainment center. We were all mind blown. Okay, there's a crowd of what, estimated 32,000, 20,000 give or take, depending how many seats had to be covered due to the way the stage was positioned, but all of us were mind blown. I have never sat through a live performance at that scale where everybody sat down, shut up the whole time for 2 hours straight. We cheered, yes, but we also limited our phone usage. Grown-ass adults who would probably normally do what I do and record every single song of a concert went, no, we're not bringing our phones out. I think in the whole 2-hour runtime, I probably saw 100 phones, which in my mind is not normal. So that was a lot. And again, these phones only popped out during key songs that audience members were like, oh my god, yes, oh my god, I want to see how you do this and do that. Like, yes. So it was absolutely phenomenal. I could rave and rave about Hans Zimmer being performed live on an endless loop. But the fact is, it's nearly midnight. I want to get up at 3 a.m. for a dawn service, which I'm already regretting doing because I am gonna get like less than 2 hours sleep if I'm lucky. So if possible, go see Hans Zimmer live. You will not regret a thing. The orchestra he had was a local Australian band, or possibly Queensland orchestra. He talked about the performers he had worked with for decades, and he made jokes that we were like, oh yeah, we actually laughed at these jokes. It wasn't like, cool, funny man, cool. Yeah, it was like, no, we're gonna laugh because we understand this. We got you. And he talked about when he did the performance for Dark Phoenix, he talked about how there's movies out there he loves working on, and there's also movies he was not a fan of working on, but instead came up with magic. Then he talked about Interstellar and went, look, I know I've said, there's films I absolutely hate working on, but there's also ones I love, like Interstellar. And the beauty of Interstellar, I could imagine that score being played, oh my god, why can't I think about how Mount Cootha or Mount Tambourine, that open air space where you can just look out and see nothing but stars. Just watch, look out places, or watch places where you can just take your telescope and stargaze. Like, you could just imagine Interstellar score, the one that was played tonight, being heard in those moments, because the way the lighting was, I was like, oh my god. I also surprised myself. Now, I think I mentioned this earlier, where yes, a lot of these songs I was sitting there going, okay, I know this song, what is it from? And clearly I'm a dumbass. Like, you would think with someone who has scores on repeat and watches like 2,000 movies a year, 70 hours worth of films a week, I would know, but I don't. So I sit there going, okay, this sounds familiar. And then it took me a few songs to realize that, oh, that's actually Man of Steel. Or with No Time to Die, I got really confused because I was like, oh my god, it's Mission Impossible. And then realized, no, I don't think Hans Zimmer worked on Mission Impossible. Also, that would have been perfect timing if he had, because like, month away until Final Reckoning. Not excited or anything, but no, like, he has 2 hours to play a catalogue of songs. So he hand selected at least 10 of them, 20 of them max, whatever can fit within a 2-hour runtime, with slots of 15 to 20 minutes for each song, to let you savor all this magic of the overtures, as well as giving moments, roughly 2 minutes of talking time between some of these moments. Majority of the time it's just Hans and the orchestra and his band and the choir and other performers doing their magic. It is very little of him talking. It's very little of him explaining. It's just sit, listen, enjoy. And I highly encourage you to go see Hans Zimmer live if you get the chance. Depending where you are, I know Brisbane was his first Australian show for this tour. Melbourne and Sydney, I believe, are up next. So if there is tickets still going, go see him. You won't regret a thing. If you're in other countries and he's touring and you've been and ahhing, go see it. You won't regret a thing. Okay? It is not some like cash grab, because I only paid just under $200 for my seat, and I was up in like the nosebleeds, right? And I was impressed. I was like, my lord, I only paid $200. Dude, I should have paid more. Like, Hans Zimmer walks through the aisles of like the VIP section. There is like performers who pop up randomly in the audience. So like, for what I paid, I'm shocked at the value I should have paid for. So highly encouraged, go see him live. You can tick it off your bucket list and fangirl out, because I was sitting there like just And then people around me were sitting there like, ah. So go see him live. You won't regret a thing.